Conventions in audio production. In this video, I'll be talking about effects that include reverb, distortion, compression, delay, and panning. So first, let's begin with reverberation. What is it? Simply putting it, it's the effect given to a sound which is placed into a specific environment. It is caused by reflections of sound bouncing off obstacles such as walls in a room. Reverberation is made up of teeny tiny echoes and delays. Here we have an example of a sound being placed in a small space. Here we have an example of it being placed in a medium space. And finally in a large space. But it's not just reverberation that's put on sound effects, it's also used in songs as well. Here we see an example of it in Green Day's song Boulevard of Broken Dreams in the intro of the song. Next effect is distortion. This is an effect given to a sound where the volume has been artificially increased. Clipping occurs and produces overtones, which then go on to create new frequencies which weren't in the original sound, resulting in the distorted noise we hear. Examples of distortion: we have Revolution by the Beatles. Distortion occurs in the very beginning. Next is delays. Sounds which have been played and then stored to be repeated afterwards, basically. The repeated sounds decrease in volume with each repeat. My example for this is Summertime Clothes by Animal Collective. Next, we'll talk about panning. This is a really easy one to understand. If you have both earphones in, panning is where the sound travels from one side to another and can vary throughout the song or sounds. Now I have a really good example, and that's Monster by Skillet. In the very beginning, it starts off in one ear and moves to the other, and it's a noticeable effect. Studios, especially in the college one, in the live room, the setup is a condenser mic, which is a Audio-Technica AT4033A. That then plugs into the breakout box. And in the control room you have speakers that plug into the amp, and you have a mixer and a Mac with Logic. And the Mac then plugs into the sound card rack 19. I have pictures here of the equipment in the studio and outside the studio. First we have the mixer, then the picture of the Mac, the sound card rack, the microphone, the breakout box, and the condenser for the microphone. Production. Recording. This is obtaining necessary sounds, whether that's Foley or vocals. Then you have the planning. This could include scripts, equipment lists, and location recce's. Then obtaining the equipment. If you're recording, you'll need suitable microphones. Post-production. This is the process after production, hence the post in front of production. Post-production will include editing, mixing down sounds, stitching them together, and mastering, the final process on sounds, where the loudness and EQ are adjusted. Next we have roles. Every project requires different roles to be filled, each with their own responsibilities. Recording engineer. This person is responsible for recording sounds, then manipulating them and reproducing them in a way that makes everyone happy. The mixing engineer is the one who takes responsibility for combining the recorded elements to create a finished product. Location recorder, this one's responsible for recording out on location. The producer, this man or woman can have one of two roles. They can either make and produce the music, or they can oversee bands. Both are rather hefty roles, so it's unlikely that they would do both. Next we have file transfer. The days of using carrier pigeons are now over. We have so many impressive ways of getting files from A to B or Z, depending on how many people you want to share these with. These include via SD card. They're light and easy to use. Best to have one with lots of gigabytes, but if computers don't have an SD card slot, you'll need an SD card reader that goes into the USB port. Memory sticks, they're like an SD card, but in a different shape. They have the USB end, and they don't require a reader, like the SD card does. Dropbox, Google Drive, OneDrive, and probably a lot more are online file storage places where files are stored, and you have the option to share if you wish to do so. Via email is okay if you only want to share small files, because email does have a limit and it's not that big. Bluetooth, this is mainly used for phones to phone, because they are the main devices with Bluetooth on them. Next we have recording formats. All sounds are of different formats, and each sound software program has different format options. WAV, W-A-V, is a Windows format and is uncompressed. AIFF is a Mac format, and it stands for Apple Interchange File Format, and is also uncompressed. MP3, however, is a compressed format, meaning it's of lower quality, which results in it being made smaller by removing higher and lower frequencies, ones that apparently the human's ears can't detect, so it's seen as pointless having them. Next we have legal issues. PRS, Performing Rights Society, is their job to help artists. Said artists receive royalties if they partake in the involvement of a song with regards to either the lyrics or the music of said song. From a venue point of view, permission from PRS is required to allow the artist to play there. Some venues are exempt, such as residential care homes and civil ceremonies. Copyright is very handy. It's protection from people stealing your material and passing it off as their own. A lot of artists have this on their songs, and rightly so. Contracts. Normally a contract has two or more parties, and a contract tends to be an agreement of some sort, mainly relating to percentages of who's entitled to what, and also royalty splits. Next we have profanity, the umbrella in which swearing comes under. Music genres that like to swear in their music are metal and rap mainly. If a radio show is live, you can have a delay to blank any swearing in a song. If it's for a music video, then there's normally two videos, a clean version and a dirty version. One way is to blank the swearing out, like in the clean version of Hard Out Here by Lily Allen. It just goes quiet, vocal wise, and they just have little instrumental bits.
Forget you were a pair of. It's hard, it's hard, it's hard out here for a.
Or you can take a leaf out of Enrique Iglesias' book and change the swear words for more friendly words.
Here's the situation, been to every nation. Nobody's ever made me feel the way that you do. You know my motivation, given my reputation. Please excuse me, I don't mean to be rude, but tonight I'm loving you.
Blasphemy, simply put, is the term used to describe something which is offensive to religious beliefs. For example, using the Lord's name in vain or singing about him in a derogative manner. Linear recording systems. Cassettes were a way of recording audio. Reel-to-reel tapes were also used to record audios for albums. Linear is chronological, it's sequential, it's in order. So that would mean that non-linear is not in order. Logic, the sound editing software, is an example of this, because you can record multiple audios and move them about, and you don't have to do it in the order you recorded the sounds in. You can do it in whatever order you choose. The end.